As ever, there's always rumors about a Bloodborne remastered, a Bloodborne 2, blah blah blah. Um, there's really no reason to believe any of those rumors, and they come out just about every week or every 2 weeks or so. There's always some new rumor, and of course, like clockwork, just a few days ago, I was reading another rumor from a supposedly reputable source, and then another supposedly reputable source soft confirmed, or maybe a better word is endorsed the rumor. And even today, I had read some stuff about who might possibly be working on such a thing in terms of a Bloodborne remastered or a Bloodborne 2, and the usual suspects come up, right? Blue Point making a remaster, that seems like a very obvious suggestion. And even in terms of working on a sequel, Blue Point's name comes up again, and that's something I'd like to quickly talk about, is just this idea of getting someone that is not From Software to make one of their games, a From Software game, to make another Souls game. I have to say I'm opposed to it. Bluepoint has done a tremendous job, an excellent job in overall in remastering not just Demon Souls, but also Shadow of the Colossus. They've effectively remastered it once and then remade it another time, which is amazing. But when it comes to actually making a game, when it comes to actually making a game from the ground up, that's where I have my doubts. That's where I start to wonder, is this really gonna be a thing that's going to really live up to the reputation that these Souls games have? Now, that being said, I feel like a lot of us in the gaming community place a lot of emphasis on single creators. Hideo Kojima this, Hideo Kojima that, Hidetaka Miyazaki, Shigeru Miyamoto, the list goes on and on. We often praise the one director who is admittedly like the face of the game, of whatever game that we're talking about, when in fact there's always many people involved in making games, and it's a common mistake that we have, to focus on just that one person and kind of discount everyone else that's involved. And to a similar degree, I think that we don't give enough credit to a game company, a game developer, when we're just judging them by their current library of games, the current games that they've made thus far, right? And when you look at Bluepoint, they certainly have the pedigree, they certainly have the chops, in a technical and even artistic, whatever kind of misgivings you might have about certain revisions to the enemies and monsters in Demon Souls. Overall, their artistic direction is very, very good. And who's to say that they can put together a fascinating story, a fascinating environment, and a whole new game altogether? That's a very interesting question. And my initial feeling is like, I would rather just have From Software make a Bloodborne 2, right? But at the same time, we have to allow for these developers and these studios to grow and become more than what they currently are. If you look at, for example, the studio that made Returnal, the name escapes me right now. They had only just made like very arcadey action games up until Returnal for several years and gaming generations, that's primarily what they had been known for, from the PS3 onto the Vita and the PS4. Resogun, I think they made Resogun on the PS4. That was a launch game. But they stepped it up. When it came to making Returnal, they really pushed themselves and went into, uncomfortable, different territory beyond what their usual kind of gaming style was. And I haven't played it, but it sounds like for the most part, it really worked out. And I think the same could be said potentially for Bluepoint. They might be able to pull it off. I'd be interested in seeing it, but I'm a little torn. I guess that's sort of what I want to get at, is that I'm a little torn in terms of if they can actually pull off a Bloodborne 2 and make it as fascinating and as interesting, as dark and disturbing and as a From Software game is. And unfortunately, say a game like that comes out, inevitably there will always be comparisons, right? Consider Dark Souls 2, which many people often slag it for being like made by the B team, not directed by Miyazaki, and it shows. It doesn't feel quite like the other games that we know that Miyazaki was the director for, and I feel like something like that is going to happen with Bloodborne 2 if it happens to be made by someone else that's not From Software. But who knows? It could be good. Well, that's all I have to say about that, so we'll just end it there.